I'm just sitting out this outside this art centre in Aberystwyth, where this relate participate thing's going on I've been talking about. And a couple of hours ago I did the video that I uploaded last, which was the one of me standing on a stage naked for 8 minutes after I had a little bit of an introduction. A bit of a terrifying experience. I only decided I was going to do it like a minute beforehand. Because I was just going to shoot a YouTube video live, you know, because I've been making a few, but nobody really knows, I was here and doing it. So I thought the only way I could kind of introduce what I was doing was to do it in front of people. So I was going to just shoot an ordinary YouTube video like this one, really. But because the theme of this conference is all about participation, and there's been a lot of talk about kind of edgy performance work that's required the audience to, you know, overcome massive amounts of resistance, you know, those kind of things, or it's required performers to do things which are extraordinary. So there's, you know, that's been a kind of a lot of the talk. So I thought, well, I better just go for it then. I didn't really expect anybody to join in. I think I'd have been, oh, I mean, I'd have handled it, I'm sure. But that would have been an unusual event, I think, for all kinds of reasons. One or two people, I've spoken to quite a few people afterwards who come and chat to me about it. It's been quite interesting and informative. Obviously some people are saying, what's all that about then? So I'm not quite sure myself, if I'm completely honest. I've been saying that, but it's something to do with a relationship between participation and this kind of, you know, the talk that's going on here, you know, about handing over power and responsibility to audiences in a theatrical context, you know, to consumers of art, handing over the responsibility and the power and the ownership to the consumers. But also for me, it's also about YouTube as well, you know, and participatory media. Because obviously, when I make a video, I don't just hand it over to YouTube for, you know, polite chat. It enters the melee of other videos, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Where we're all on the same playing field. None of us are being paid to do this, really. You know, I have no more right or a capacity to make videos than anybody else. So anybody else's video is on a complete level playing field. You know what I mean? So that it just seems like an ideal model, an ideal paradigm for that kind of true participation and true relationship, really. You know what I mean? Because I was just having a bit of an interview with somebody who's doing some stuff here, and she was asking me, you know, what's this thing about relationship as opposed to other things, I suppose. And it seems to me, you know, relationship is always about maintaining the sovereignty of your own position whilst agreeing to engage in a kind of joint activity. You know, it's not about immersion and entertainment. I mean, those things are valid. I'm not criticising those. But the kind of things that you do when you're in an immersive situation, you know, whether that be in a really immersive, entertaining film or you know, some kind of VR experience or whatever it may be. I mean, that's you know, what you're effectively doing is you're agreeing to release sovereignty of your own experience to someone else, which is, as I say, is great. But relationship is something different, I think. It's about maintaining that sovereignty, as I say, and that independence and the capacity for individual meaning making and capacity for interpretation and individual evaluation and critical judgments and all those things. You know, you kind of maintain ownership of those, whilst, as I say, agreeing to stay in the relationship. You know, it's like a bad marriage. You stay in the relationship. So why am I talking about that? Well, I guess I'm just talking about it in this context. But and again, there's a kind of YouTube resonance to that for me, at least. You know, I'm staying in the relationship, and I have to. You know, I both have sovereignty to sit here on this bench and this beautiful little bit of grass here and make these videos. This is my independent right to do that. So my channel doesn't get taken down for doing nudity. But you also have the same sovereign right, don't you? You know, within the terms of service, of course, which is obviously something I'm thinking about a lot recently, which is why I'm doing this naked stuff. Just pushing those terms of service a wee bit, you know, pushing those terms of service. And the terms of service that exist in everyday life, you know, the terms of service that stop the people in the auditorium getting up and joining me as naked bodies on a stage, you know, different kind of terms of service, those kind of commitments, I suppose. So that's what I'm up to with that so far. Anyway, there's a couple of interesting comments that came out actually from I haven't checked all. I've been looking at the comments on the YouTube video. One or two people have commented interesting things. One guy said, really nice guy actually, he came up and said that he would have done it if only I hadn't said that thing at the beginning about when you put something on YouTube or on the internet generally, it stays there forever, which I thought was great. He would have got naked if he'd known it was ephemeral. You know what I mean? I thought that was so interesting, because that's and then there's a kind of a safety and security in the temporary, isn't it? And things that's going away, the ephemeral. We do it and then it'll just disappear, it'll be forgotten in the morning, you know, that kind of thing. Whereas of course if you do something like I'm doing it here, and you're all doing it, then yeah, it might get taken down, but chances are somebody will have copied it and it'll appear like the Barbra Streisand effect, manyfold. You know, I'll never be able to escape the fact that I've made these videos, which I quite like. I like the shocking commitment of doing that. You know, that's kind of why I did the tattoo thing. You know, it's a kind of unreasonable commitment. You know, a commitment that no one is asking to make, but you make it anyway. I just like the idea of that. So that's pretty interesting. Another woman came up to me afterwards. Actually, I wish she had done it, because she said she was thinking about doing it, and I wish she had, because she was really attractive. But that's kind of beside the point. But she said the reason why she didn't was because I was wearing the bunny ears, and if I'd had another pair of bunny ears to give her, she would have done it too. Said it was like a mask, you know, theatrical type. You know, it's like a mask. When you put the mask on, you're no longer yourself. I feel like saying, well, like, yes, you are actually. You know, you're just yourself with a mask on, which is certainly how I look at it. But no, I didn't really. I don't think she would actually. I think I could have been awash with bunny ears, and I think no one would have done it. And it would have been a bit of a shame if they had. I think, because that was kind of the point, you know. Because here, as I say, it's about relationship and participation. This conference, and I quite liked the idea of doing something where you would ask them politely to participate, and they don't. Fine words indeed. So that's that. I did think about a couple of other things. Somebody asked me in the comments, can't remember what it was now, sorry, what was I thinking about those 8 minutes? Well, I was basically thinking, what shall I do next? You know, what shall I do now? A couple of things I thought about doing and then decided not to. One thing I thought about doing, tell me what you think, it's probably a really shitty idea, because I know one or two people in the audience, and those I don't know I've like chatted with over coffee and stuff. And I thought, well, what I could do is just single these people out and say, you, Carl, why don't you come down here? And then give some reasons why perhaps he wouldn't. You know, is it because you are an academic and these people over here are your students, and you don't want to appear naked in front of your students? Is it that reason? That would put the cat among the pigeons, wouldn't it? Or you, is it because you think you're too fat? Or is it you because you're a woman and I'm a man, and there's you're worried about comes on a sexual thing? Or are you worried about you know, the fact that your girlfriend's there, so you don't want to come up and show your body? And you know, I mean, I can imagine myself making these kind of claims, you know, and accusations about why people were too chicken shit to take their clothes off. But I thought that might be pushing it a bit. I didn't want to. I didn't want to make it that confrontational. I wanted it to be quite a gentle provocation rather than an aggressive one.
Hyper-aggressive for about 20 minutes to half an hour.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking about doing was just saying please a lot. Please, please take your clothes off. Please take all of your clothes off. Come on, please get naked with me. Please, please. I'm crying, look, I'm crying. I thought about doing that like for a long time. You know, maybe getting down on my knees and genuinely crying, because I can't pretty much cry to order if I want to. You know, and really gone for it, you know. But again, I thought that would just be just a little bit too invasive. What do you think? Do you think that would have been too invasive? I don't know. If I ever do it again, I might do one of those things. I think it's probably just the kind of thing you would want to do just once. Excuse me for burping, I've just eaten a brie and cranberry sandwich, and very nice it was too. And yeah, I'm going to go back in now because the bar is open and there's a disco, I believe. I love discos.